sleek aesthetic, and a space-age design. Powerful shots with echoing reports. A rifle built for a new age of war, but ready for tackling a modern world. Hi, Six Snipes here, and I had a lot of fun making the last video. It looks like it's been received about as well as I'd expect.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
And because of that, I'm continuing with my next installation on yet another gun I'm quite a big fan of. But before I get into this, it's probably proper to address the obligatory comment I keep getting of, why are you making gun guides on a video game that's dead? Well, if the game's dead, then how do you suppose I got the footage? So that being cleared up, let's get into today's episode on the G36. You're watching Gun Guide. The G36C rifle belongs to a family of weapons developed in the early 90s by renowned German arms manufacturer H&K, the same minds behind iconic weapons such as the MP7 PDW, 416 carbine, and the people responsible for making the LED-5 actually usable.
Put your fucking mouth shut! You are really pissing me off.
Ironically, the G36 family's reputation wouldn't become much better. Venturing into new territories, H&K, in a bizarre twist of events, produced a gun without roller-delayed blowback and actually chambered a 5.56 NATO round.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
Further bizarrities included a carry handle sight in an unconventional double optic configuration, as well as standard magazines being able to lock together and form a quick swap utility. Unfortunately, none of these made into the game or many other games, opting to go with the creatively devoid G36C configuration with short barrel and Picatinny mounting that you see in countless other titles. Not at all bad though, considering that entirely melting down after switching to full auto didn't become a feature either. Being a rather conventionalist approach to any carbine, this takes somewhat of a turn from the Groza one of yesterday's video. Lighter caliber with lower fire rate to boot, you might as well wonder to yourself, what are the advantages of using something of its nature, much less why it is one of my favorites of its class? Well, allow me to elaborate. While I wasn't around back then, the earlier days of Battlefield saw a much stronger G36, 750 rounds per minute to match the Grozas of today, as well as mad stability and a relatively early unlock status of about halfway through the progression ranks, making for a somewhat easily accessible and incredibly potent pick. Because of this, a patch was made cutting it down by 100 RPM, leaving it at 650.
Look how they mess with my boy.
Despite this, the incredibly high stability is still intact, and even though most recoil remains no factor to me, a support main, I still appreciate less correction, and I'm sure less experienced players will too. Now at this point I could dive into the damage charts and the range spreadsheets, but if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you probably understand that I cover the aspects of the gun that are actually noticeable, not the numbers that are neither visible in-game or are useful to know when you're in an actual firefight. So with that in mind, the gun feels nice. Despite the recoil being on the lower end, the sound design is quite distinctively big, thundering and bassy outside and especially indoors, where each gunshot echoes through the walls and your soul. It's quite recognizable and makes you feel like your gun's hitting like a truck, and that it does. Putting people down as fast as any good carbine should, however, the lower fire rate means it's of course far more suited for medium engagements to long ranges. Not that CQB is impossible, the spread outside of aiming down sights is passable, but with a little practice you'll figure out that the ADS is just the way to go. You're shooting a laser. In terms of diversity, I fielded it several environments and in several game modes. I'm not scared to open up fire in the longer lanes with this thing, and to be perfectly honest, after a long recording session not being able to customize half of the last gun, I rather like being able to throw on attachments, most importantly by far, the potato grip.
Yeah, boy.
With those extra little bits, scoring those hit markers from the uber long ranges can be that much easier. Not to downplay the base model, however. Running no grips, sights, or lasers with just a heavy barrel is perfectly fine, and I'm quite content blasting at people with a vanilla build. Oh, dude. Oh, dude. I just got a quad with it. I just got a quad. I just got a pin to kill. The iron sights are nothing to write home about. Functional, which is what's important. That being said, unlike other guns with carry handles, this one actually mounts optics quite ergonomically and fits them quite well. The red dot you'll unlock first is fine, but I much prefer the Russian Cobra, or else the EOTech to any other holographics. As for scopes, the good old ACOG is fine, and the other magnification difference between that and the M145 is literally minimal, and of course these all have the same matching counterparts from other nations, so there's plenty of selection and it's more up to opinion. But if you don't use the M1, you're an idiot. The reload on this thing is functional too. It's actually faster than the Groza, which I did like, but since it's way less interesting to look at, you won't catch me giving it any praise. Sometimes style is better than substance.
This is brilliant, but I like this.
Better velocity too, and looking at the stats I would have guessed that. The shots seem to carry themselves farther and the gun's almost certainly a better ranged utility, but that's about as far as I'm gonna go into the raw data. In terms of performance, this gun is nice. Clean kills, cyclic and rhythmic spray patterns. After a certain while you sort of mentally compensate for a weapon's minute traits, and I find that having used this enough, it makes for a quite good, solid piece. Usage in my case worked best defensively, holding angles and letting the enemy push you. As a matter of fact, I got the biggest effect holding a singular objective down with a recon from the top floor of a bus with nothing but a G36 and a pocket full of claymores myself. That combined with his overwatch, a spawn beacon, and a little auditory awareness, we managed to hog that objective for way longer than we ever should have.
Come on, I watch it.
And the rifle performed admirably. As always, I'll give a shout out to both flashbangs for their incredible room clearing practicality and the arbitrary claymore kill that just spontaneously comes up right when you've forgotten you ever had one down. Give me a second. Oh my gosh. You know what that'll do? I literally just got a claymore. They both supplement the gun quite nicely, especially in the domination mode, which is pretty much identical to what you'd see in Sandstorm, and you can imagine how excited I was to discover a server running it.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for. This is exactly, I don't mean to sound like Cat Williams, but this is exactly what I've been waiting for.
The G36 is rather what you'd expect from the favored guns of a nation's ground forces. Steady and reliable, it gets the job done. No flashy features or unconventionalism in sight. The gun's straight to business and right at the top of the leaderboard of the team you're trying to carry against the enemy roster nightmare that matchmaking somehow managed to assemble.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
The difference here between last time is I actually ground from roughly 0 to 500 kills just for this video. Dude. I wanted to see if I liked it, and boy do I. Come here, PogChamp. Achieving the dog tag is quite rewarding for these guns, and it'll be a real shame to run out of ones to do that with. Regardless, I can't say how much I recommend this. It may not have the rate of fire that every sweaty-palmed Battlefield player loves to rant about, but as I've been told since I was a kid, something slow and steady wins the race. Holy crap.
No.
G36, more like G36, dude. That's going in the video. And that's just about all I have to say about the G36. Clean cut with no excess. Practical, reliable, and able to engage with enemies wherever you find them. City streets or tropical jungles, rooftops or bus stops. Get ready to tackle the threat wherever it may be. If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing, or else picking up this thing for yourself. After all, I feel way more accomplished the more people I see fielding the stuff I recommend. I'm sort of egotistical that way. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed the back-to-back days of Gun Guide, and I hope to continue my short stint doing a series on Battlefield, and maybe, hopefully, more than that. But until then, as always, I'm Six Snipes, this is the G36C, and you've been watching Gun Guide. I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.